Now on KOAM News at 5, some area school districts report COVID cases among students after the first week of school.
President Biden strongly defends the withdrawal from Afghanistan, but faces questions about the Americans who remain there. I'm Natalie Brand. What the White House says about the efforts to get them out.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Some local school districts see a number of COVID cases after the first week of school. This is KOAM News at 5. School districts in Jasper, Newton, and McDonald counties have seen confirmed cases among students and staff and a number of quarantines. In Carthage, there are 10 active cases among students, 1 staff case, and 47 students under quarantine. And in Neosho, 22 students have tested positive, along with 3 staff members, and 48 students are in quarantine. The first day of school in Neosho, there were 9 positive cases, but the superintendent says those students weren't from the school.
Those are students that called in and said, we're positive or we're quarantined. And so we thought, wow, with that number, what's it going to be like when we come back? And really, it has stayed pretty much under control.
Tonight at 6, we're going to hear from the Newton County Health Department on what they were expecting before the school year started and what they're expecting now. Area high school counselors were honored at Missouri Southern today. The college hosted Counselor Appreciation Day. It was a chance for counselors to learn about new scholarships, housing, and academic opportunities.
New programs that we offer, new housing options, new scholarships. They're also going to be hearing from some of our academic programs who are going to tell them everything that is involved with that academic program, mostly our new ones, mostly our very immersive, very hands-on learning ones.
Counselors also had a chance to win one of 5 $1,000 scholarships to distribute however they saw fit. Checking in with Chris Warner now for a first look at the weather.
Yeah, it's not been too bad. A little bit on the warm side out there, but not as bad as it has been over the past couple of weeks. Skywatch Storm Tracker showing us nothing in our area. We got to go off to the northeast where they're still dealing with the remnants of Hurricane Ida, now Tropical Depression Ida. You can see a number of tornado warnings up there that they are facing, and hopefully this will get on out of there, but they're also dealing with a lot of flooding and heavy rainfall from this system. Nothing like that in our area. We seem to say that it's always going on somewhere, but here we do have some heat advisories up in northeast Oklahoma as temperatures are going to be a little bit toasty, so are the heat indexes. So let's take a look at what we are going to go through for the rest of the evening. We're going to hit 88 by about 6, 81 by 8, 76 by 10, 73 by midnight. The rest of us dipping off into overnight lows. Couple upper 60s, most of us hovering right around the 7-degree mark. Some changes in the forecast. We're going to break those down coming up.
Catch you then. The war in Afghanistan is now officially over, but the fight over the Americans left behind is just beginning. Reporter Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
The Biden administration says there are still 100 to 200 American civilians in Afghanistan.
We've been in contact with them in the last 24 hours to tell them that we are looking at all possible options, air routes, land routes, to continue to find ways for them to help evacuate.
The Biden administration says it will use diplomatic and economic pressure to make sure the Taliban lives up to its word and allows them to leave.
We are focused on operationally moving forward on a number of fronts.
This was a botched job of gargantuan proportions.
But critics are not convinced, including Florida Congressman Mike Waltz, a Green Beret who served in Afghanistan.
We do not let terrorists dictate the time and place and method which we get our people out.
The administration says the military mission in Afghanistan has transitioned to a diplomatic one. Military leaders are expressing gratitude and support to the more than 800,000 troops who served there over the past 2 decades.
We remember 2,461 American service members and personnel who paid the ultimate price in this war.
They acknowledge that not every veteran will agree with the decision to withdraw.
And when we see what has unfolded over the last 20 years and over the last 20 days, that creates pain and anger. So yeah, I have that, but I'm a professional soldier. I'm going to contain my pain and anger and continue to execute my mission.
The next mission is already underway, helping resettle the Afghans forced out of their country. Nearly 20,000 are already being housed on military bases across the country, with room for more. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
CBS News has learned there are more than 40,000 other Afghans located at bases overseas awaiting processing and background checks before they can be flown to America. Protesters gathered in Texas after the U.S. Supreme Court failed to block the state's controversial abortion law from taking effect at midnight. The measure bans abortions as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy, which is before many women even know they're pregnant. The bill also allows citizens to sue anyone who assists a woman in getting an abortion after 6 weeks. Those who are successful with their lawsuits could be awarded a minimum of $10,000. The Supreme Court could still weigh in on the Texas law. Still ahead, the Caldor fire in Northern California threatens thousands of homes near Lake Tahoe. And next in Health Watch, a warning from the American Heart Association about sleep apnea in children. Topping today's Health Watch, researchers in Spain are using artificial intelligence to help stroke patients calculate the risk of suffering another stroke. Experts believe their new study will identify the most important factors for preventing stroke recurrence and help pinpoint lifestyle changes or treatments that could help. A new study finds women are more likely to experience work stress and fatigue that it could increase the risk of a heart attack or stroke. Swiss researchers found the risk factors are rising faster among women than men. They believe it could be linked to an increase in the number of women working full-time and juggling responsibilities at home. Sleep apnea is a condition we generally associate with adults, but the American Heart Association is warning the sleep disorder is common in children and may impact their heart health. Reporter Bradley Blackburn has more.
Aguilar Cielo has concerns about her son's sleep.
He will always sleep with his mouth open. He will breathe for a couple of seconds and he'll pause and he'll breathe again. I just feel really tired.
9-year-old Giovanni suffers from sleep apnea, a disorder that affects up to 6% of children and adolescents. The American Heart Association says the quality of a child's sleep and sleep apnea may impact blood pressure, heart structure, and other heart health factors.
Having obstructive sleep apnea can be associated with higher blood pressure, metabolic syndrome, conditions like obesity and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. When they occur in childhood, they do tend to track into adulthood.
Dr. Carissa Baker authored the statement. Symptoms include snoring more than 3 nights a week, as well as gasps or labored breathing and daytime sleepiness.
Some of the kids who we're seeing who may be having difficulty focusing and things like that during the day in school, ask about their sleep. These are critical times in a child's life when their brains are developing.
And obesity in children is also a factor. As many as 60% of adolescents who are obese have sleep apnea. Giovanni had his tonsils out and his sleep improved a little.
5 hours of physical activity per week.
His doctor also wants him to focus on lifestyle changes to get to a healthier weight.
I feel like the tiredness does affect them a little bit. I just want the best and hopefully he can get the help he needs.
His mom hopes with a good night's rest, Giovanni will have better days. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
The Heart Association recommends a sleep study for children and adults to diagnose sleep disorder breathing. That is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Judik from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to talk about squirrels in your bird feeder.
But first, we've had another warm day across the area. Changes are on the way. We're going to break those down next. Another warm one across the area today, but not as warm as it has been over the last few days. You can take a look at that on the 36-hour trend of observed temperatures, the official title. Started out pretty cool Tuesday morning, warmed back up to about 88 for Tuesday afternoon, and that's where we made it again today. After starting the day at 70, we made it all the way up to 88 degrees. 7th and range line, a little bit hazy out there, otherwise pretty clear skies and still pretty warm at this hour. 88, 92 is what it feels like. 69 is that dew point, humidity at 53%. I mentioned some changes. Those are on the way. We're going to break down some of those changes. First off, if you're curious, here's where we look right now, temperature-wise across the area. As you can see, off to our southwest, it's considerably warmer, and there's a good temperature difference from southwest to northeast. So you got Nowata 95, Joplin 88, Carthage 87, Stockton sitting at 84. We still have humidities, we still have dew points out there, and they're still up there in roughly that sticky to muggy range for most of us, so not as high as they have been, but because they're in place and it's still up there, we still have heat indices across the area. 97 Commerce, 101 Nowata, 100 Independence, so that's why for some of the folks in northeast Oklahoma, there's some heat advisories in effect. Through the overnight, we're going to start 88 by 6, 81 by 8, 76 by 10, 73 by midnight under clear skies, with the rest of us dipping off into the lower 70s, maybe some upper 60s across the area. These are the heat advisories I was talking about, as you can see, for 3 counties in northeast Oklahoma, but not as widespread as what we saw, say, this time last week where everybody was under them. Skywatch Storm Tracker, nothing going on there. You got to go out to the northeast where they're dealing with the remnants of Ida. Tornado warnings, as you can see, up and down the East Coast, and this system continuing to dump copious amounts of rainfall up there. In our area, though, not so much in terms of copious amounts of rainfall. Going into the future, not looking too shabby. See a few afternoon pop-up storms tomorrow, and we're probably going to see the same thing coming in again on Friday. And you see this system up to our north, that should stay off that way. These storms in the northwestern part of our viewing area should kind of break up as we head through the afternoon. We're going to see highs of 87 by Friday afternoon, not as warm as what it has been. And then take a look at this. There's another system out to the west, and that's what's going to make its way in here through the weekend. And I know it's Labor Day weekend, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, that's what we have. As you can see, more widely scattered thunderstorms across the entire area starting your day on Saturday, and that's really how it's going to be through the weekend. The good news is the rain's going to bring some of those dew points down. It's going to bring temperatures down, so that means the future feels like not looking nearly as bad as they have over the last several days. 7-day forecast, there are those thunderstorm chances increasing, unfortunately, through the weekend. But on Labor Day itself, they're going to try and kick on out of here in the morning. Check out some of those overnight lows, 65 Sunday night into Monday before, as you see by Tuesday, Wednesday, that heat makes a vicious return.
Cooler temperatures will take that, and yeah, some rain, we might have to put up with that.
Yeah, unfortunately through the holiday weekend, but you know, that's how it goes.
Thanks, Chris. A wildfire that's been burning since mid-August continues to rage near Lake Tahoe, threatening thousands of structures. So far, the Caldor fire has scorched nearly 320 square miles of forest. That's an area almost the size of the city of San Diego, and it's only 20% contained. Reporter Rachel Wolf has the latest from Christmas Valley, California.
It's a hellish scene outside South Lake Tahoe's Heavenly Mountain Ski Resort as fire crews work to save it from the fast-moving flames. The resort's snow machines are running full blast.
It'll help a lot. It's spreading water out. It's increasing the humidity level. It's getting everything wet.
Swirling gusty winds, low humidity, and brush that hasn't burned in 8 decades are fueling the inferno.
We've had tremendous changing wind and weather. And we're seeing fire behavior that most could agree with me we may never see again in our whole lives. Let's hope.
Burning since mid-August, the Caldor fire has wiped out nearly 320 square miles of forest in Northern California's Sierra Nevada mountains. It's destroyed about 700 structures, mostly single-family homes, and threatens at least 30,000 more. Most people have evacuated.
When we were going through our house, you're kind of going through the boxes and you're like, okay, what can I leave behind and what do I have to take?
Some have stayed behind.
I promised my kid I'd be out of here as soon as I saw any flames anywhere.
The fire is also displacing wildlife, like this bear seen wandering around in downtown South Lake Tahoe. About 15,000 firefighters are battling the flames in the Caldor fire. Some have come directly from other fires. Officials are urging crews to pace themselves.
We all know we still have a long grind ahead of us. Not only do we recognize the physical fatigue, but equally important is the mental fatigue.
While crews are making progress, they'll be battling adverse conditions for weeks to come. Rachel Wolf, CBS News, Christmas Valley, California.
Coming up, a new jobs report says far fewer jobs were added last month than expected. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Matthew Wilson served in the U.S. Army in 2008 and 2009. The Miller, Missouri native was stationed in Afghanistan and received a Purple Heart. We salute Private First Class Matthew Wilson, a four-state hero. You can learn about lots of other heroes. You can also submit a hero of your own anytime you want. It's very simple to do. You just click on the link on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the ADP employment report came in with far fewer jobs added in August than projected. It shows 374,000 new private sector jobs were added instead of the more than 600,000 economists had expected. Most of the new jobs were in the leisure and hospitality sector, one of the industries hardest hit by the pandemic. One company that's adding jobs, Walmart. The big box store giant is planning to hire 20,000 full and part-time employees to bolster its supply chain. The permanent jobs will be at the company's distribution, fulfillment, and transportation centers. Hiring events will be held next week. Employers are instituting more vaccine mandates. A new survey from consultant Willis Towers Watson shows more than half of U.S. employers are planning or considering requirements for a COVID-19 vaccination by the end of 2021. Just over 20% of companies surveyed currently have such a rule already in place. 14% of those surveyed say they're considering a health care surcharge for those who choose not to get vaccinated. And Aston Martin has a car built for a spy. The company is selling 25 life-size versions of its classic 007 James Bond 1965 toy car. They're complete with a working smoke screen, a deployable bulletproof shield, and fake machine guns that emerge from the corner lights. The sticker price, a mere $3.5 million. Only problem, they're not actually legal to drive on the street. They are literally giant toys. Final check of the forecast next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to hear more from area school districts about COVID cases among students in the first week back. Plus, an Oklahoma judge temporarily blocks the state from banning mask mandates at schools. And Freeman health officials discuss the use of monoclonal antibody infusion therapy for some COVID patients. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Lots of people like to put up bird feeders to get a closer look at that side of nature, but sometimes other critters take advantage of an easy snack. Today's question for our pet vet on call: is there any way to keep squirrels out of a bird feeder?
There are very few ways to keep squirrels out of the feeders. They're little sneaky thieves. I've seen a lot of contraptions people have made, and some I think are kind of cruel. A couple safe ways are to actually feed the squirrel part ways up the tree trunk. Corn, sunflower seeds, peanuts, they're very cheap, and if they stop halfway up the tree, they'll get full and maybe not go on to the bird feeders. Or you can put your bird feeder up on a very, very slick round pole that they can't climb. Or you could do like me, accept the fact that they're going to get up in there anyway. They're so cute, fun to watch, and just let them have it. They're hungry too.
Hey, we invite questions from anyone. If you have one, you just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question every Wednesday right here on KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. All right, let's check out our picks of the litter for the week from the Joplin Humane Society. This first is a gray domestic short-hair kitten, little male. His name is Larry. Also from the Joplin Humane Society, this Yorkshire Terrier mix named Bob. If you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? They always have a lot of great ones. Best dog I ever had came from a Humane Society.
That's some good cats from a Humane Society as well. You know,
absolutely. Yeah, they've got tons of them.
And they want to be loved, so that's the thing.
They do. It enriches everybody. Well, the weather not too bad at the moment, Chris.
No, not too shabby at all. And as we go into the future, as you can see, future heat index values this weekend nowhere near what they have been. 7-day forecast showing us a nice cool down for Labor Day weekend. Unfortunately, it also means an increase in some rain chances before we start to heat up again next week.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.